Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into something pretty fascinating. This intersection of really advanced air purification tech and maybe a more realistic philosophy on aging.
Right. We're kind of moving past that whole age reversal hype.
Exactly. Our sources today are pretty diverse. We've got a tech patent overview, a piece on the philosophy of longevity, and an article breaking down, well, all the nasty stuff in our air.
And the core idea tying it all together is this. Maybe you can't turn back the clock, but you can significantly slow down aging by controlling one key thing.
The air you breathe, literally minute by minute.
It sounds simple, maybe even obvious, but the sources argue it's profound. If the air itself is constantly attacking your cells, everything else, diet, exercise, it's like fighting with one hand tied behind your back.
So our mission today is to figure out why our environment is, well, so tough on us and what kind of breakthrough it takes to actually push back effectively.
And to really get why the solution needs to be so advanced, we need to grasp the problem first. The sources talk about hitting a toxin saturation point.
It's this idea of a constant attack, right? Not just outside, but inside our homes, too.
Absolutely. People think closing the door seals them off, but indoor air can be surprisingly bad. You've got VOCs, volatile organic compounds, off-gassing from furniture, carpets, plastics. Think new car smell or new paint.
Stuff we barely notice after a while. Formaldehyde, benzene from decor.
Yeah, paints, glues, sealants. And then there's the stuff we actively bring in.
Like what? You mean cleaning products?
That's a big one. Artificial fragrances, chemicals in perfumes, cosmetics, air fresheners, cleaners. They release these toxic molecules constantly. Plus, sometimes you get hidden things like mold in the AC or even ozone from cheap air purifiers that aren't designed well.
Wow, okay, so none of these immediately knock you out, but it's the buildup.
Exactly. It's the daily low-level exposure that pushes your body towards that saturation point. And then, of course, you step outside.
And it's a whole different assault. Vehicle exhaust is the obvious one.
Right. Cars, trucks, motorcycles, planes, but also brake dust, tiny metal particles flying off brakes as they wear down, and construction road wear that kicks up PM 2.5, the fine dust we hear about.
But the sources really zero in on something even smaller, don't they? The PM 0.1 nanoparticles.
Yeah.
That's where they say the real danger lies.
Yes, this is critical. It's what separates just environmental dirt from actual cell level damage. Why PM 0.1? It's purely about size.
They're just that small.
Unbelievably small. So small, they bypass your lungs' defenses, they can get into the alveoli, slip into your bloodstream, and the sources claim they can travel straight to the brain, even into the nucleus of your cells.
To the cell nucleus. That sounds bad.
It is, because once they're in the nucleus, they can potentially mess with your cellular function, your DNA expression, basically accelerating aging and disease right at the source code level.
Okay, that's a sobering picture. So if that's the threat level, what about what most people do? Open a window. Use a standard HEPA filter.
Well, the sources are pretty blunt about that. They call opening a window basically entering a 24-hour toxin penetration war. You're just swapping one set of pollutants for another.
And HEPA filters. I thought they were the gold standard.
They are for larger particles, but they're fundamentally not designed for these ultrafine PM 0.1 particles. Standard HEPA mostly targets things 0.3 micrometers and up. They're really dangerous nanoparticles. Most just go straight through.
I didn't realize that.
And there are other issues. Traditional filters often rely on fast airflow, which means particles don't spend enough time near the filter material to get trapped effectively, especially for chemical absorption.
And doesn't static charge play a role?
It does initially. Some filters use static to help grab particles, but that charge wears off sometimes really quickly, like in weeks.
Yeah.
So the filter's effectiveness against the smallest, most dangerous stuff can plummet pretty fast.
Okay, so traditional methods are kind of leaky, especially against the worst offenders. That really sets the stage for needing something different. Which brings us to this Air 6-free maze purifier. The patent calls it biological protection engineering. That sounds intense.
It's definitely a different approach than just filtering. The claim is bold, achieving 6 frees, dust-free, germ-free, toxin-free, smoke-free, odor-free, and heavy metal-free air.
That's a lot of frees. Is that actually achievable or more of a marketing goal? 6 seems like a high bar.
It is a high bar, no doubt. But looking at the patent, it's US 8268058B2. They're tackling it with physics that go way beyond simple trapping. We can probably break down their process into, say, 2 main innovative steps that deal with those PM 0.1s and the chemical toxins.
All right, let's unpack it. What's the first big innovation?
It starts with what they call multi-stage ionization and toxin neutralization. As air comes in, there's a primary negative ion charge applied.
Okay, what does that do? Make things staticky?
Sort of, yeah. It puts an electrical charge on everything, tiny viruses, bacteria, those PM 0.1 particles, makes them sticky, basically, so they're easier to grab later. But at the same time, there's a secondary ionization zone that's more specialized.
Specialized how?
This zone acts almost like a breakdown chamber for chemicals. And here's a really interesting claim from the source material. They say it neutralizes VOCs, like formaldehyde and benzene, without using activated carbon.
Wait, really? No carbon? I thought that was essential for chemicals and odors. How can ions break down something like benzene?
That's the key difference in their approach. Activated carbon absorbs it, traps molecules, but the filter gets saturated and can even release them later. This system uses specific, controlled ion clusters to actively attack the chemical bonds of the pollutants.
So it's dismantling the molecules themselves.
Essentially, yes. The ion field breaks down the molecular structure, rendering the toxins inert. It's not just trapping, it's neutralization at the molecular level. That requires very precise control, which is likely why it's patented.
Okay, that is different. So particles are charged, chemicals are broken down, but you still need to capture the charged particles, especially the PM 0.1, right? Permanently.
Exactly. And that leads to the second big innovation, the physical capture system. It combines electrostatic attraction with a unique physical design.
The maze part.
Right. First, those charged particles go into an electrostatic trap, basically charged plates that strongly attract and hold on to them. This is crucial because it stops them from being re-released, which was a big problem with older, simpler ionizers.
Okay, permanent trapping. And then the maze.
Yeah.
How does a physical structure stop nanoparticles? They're so small.
It uses physics inertia, actually. Think about driving fast and trying to take a super sharp turn.
You can't.
Right, you'd keep going straight or crash.
Okay.
The air is forced through this complex path with lots of sharp, multi-angled turns. The nanoparticles, because they have mass, even though tiny, and are moving with the airflow, can't make those sharp turns due to their inertia.
So they just crash.
They crash right into the walls of the maze, which are positively charged. Remember, the particles were negatively charged earlier, so they stick tight. It's called electrostatic impaction. The source literally says, every turn is a trap.
So it's trapping them electrically and physically by making them unable to navigate the turns? Clever.
It seems like a robust combination.
Yeah.
Charge them, break down the chemicals, then force the remaining particles to crash and stick.
And the end result, they claim, is air so pure it actually boosts mental clarity, cuts fatigue, helps your organs function better, which flows perfectly into the whole philosophy side of this. Aging control.
Yes, connecting the tech back to the why. That philosophical piece we looked at, it's maybe the most thought-provoking part. It really takes aim at the entire anti-aging industry.
Right. Why are they so against the idea of age reversal? Isn't that the dream?
Well, the author argues anti-aging, or reversal, sets up a false promise. It implies damage can be totally erased, cells can magically become young again, like winding back a watch. But biologically, that's just not how it works.
Okay, so what is the biological reality then?
That damage accumulates. Your body is amazing at repair, yes, but it's not perfect restoration. Organ function generally declines over time. You can't just reset it to factory settings. So chasing reversal is misleading and, frankly, often leads to disappointment.
So the core idea here is the body isn't fundamentally broken. It's just swamped, overloaded by all these environmental hits we talked about.
Precisely. Overwhelmed, overexposed, exhausted. That's the language they use.
So aging control is the more realistic, achievable goal.
That's the argument. The purifier's role isn't magic. It's designed to help you stay younger, longer. By removing those external forces, the airborne toxins that are constantly accelerating the aging process. It creates breathing room, literally, for your body to do its repair work without fighting a constant battle.
That's a really interesting way to frame it. The tech isn't an addition for youth, it's a subtraction of aging accelerators.
Exactly. You nailed it. The benefits aren't just less coughing. By taking away that constant toxic air pressure, you reduce chronic fatigue at a systemic level. You stop the daily influx of toxins that mess with your immune system, your metabolism, your hormones.
Which leads to better sleep, real recovery.
Right. Genuine restorative sleep, actual cellular repair. Look, we can't change our genes, we can't stop time, but the source argues we can change our exposure levels drastically.
So the strategy becomes long-term avoidance.
Yes, consistent long-term toxin avoidance. The goal, as they put it, is to linger in the middle, to slow down that degeneration curve, pushing significant decline further out, maybe by decades, by acting early and consistently.
And this ties into that broader human paradise philosophy you mentioned. It sounds like more than just a product feature list.
Oh, definitely. It seems to be the ethical framework behind the technology. It has these 4 pillars.
Okay, what are they?
First, protect health. Basically, keep healthy people healthy by shielding them from that subtle chronic decay caused by constant exposure. Second, help the sick. For people already dealing with illness, cleaner air reduces the environmental burden, letting medications work better and giving the body a better chance to heal without fighting off air toxins too.
Makes sense. Less interference. What are the other 2?
Third is support longevity, which is exactly what we've been discussing, delaying organ deterioration through clean air over the long haul. And fourth, uplift all beings.
Uplift all beings. How does that connect?
The idea seems to be that this level of protection shouldn't be some luxury good, but something fundamentally helpful available to anyone who chooses it, to reduce suffering caused by the environment. They make a point of saying it's non-religious. It's about compassion delivered through technology, not doctrine, providing relief.
Wow. Okay, so bringing it all together for the listener, what's the big takeaway? Feels like a major mindset shift.
I think it is. It's suggesting we stop chasing the fantasy of turning back time and instead get really serious and practical about protecting what we have now, shielding ourselves.
Focusing on controlling the environment to let the body do its thing.
Exactly. The real power isn't in some miracle cure, it's in proactive aging control. Gaining more healthy, vital years by pulling the levers we can control. Air purity, avoiding toxins long-term, getting quality recovery. You remove the things that speed up aging so your body can stick closer to its natural, much slower timeline.
Right. It's about managing the decline, not denying it.
Yeah.
Okay, so for everyone listening, here's something to think about, building on this idea of a toxin saturation point. If our bodies get overloaded, limiting repair, what small, immediate changes, things that don't cost anything, could you make today to cut down your exposure to those everyday indoor toxins? Think about the specific cosmetics you use, the cleaning sprays under the sink, maybe that plastic thing off-gassing in the corner.
Just taking stock.
Yeah, just doing that quick audit. What are you personally introducing into your indoor air? Tackling that might be one of the most powerful first steps towards genuine aging control you can take.